weight is something that you need to consider on this. It's going to be hanging on a tree, and if you don't make it if you make it heavy, you know, it's gonna pull down on the branch of the tree pretty good. So you need to make this pretty delicate and light. Okay, I'll go back and sand that. Pull this away, of course. A little bit hard to get in there. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Okay, on the star, we're going to try to think three-dimensionally what a star would look like. And that was the problem that I had with this, pretty much. I think we're going to I used a parting tool for part of it and a skew for part of it. Okay, so since we got that already set up for my height here on the parting tool, I'm just going to leave that right there. Okay, we're gonna bring this almost to a point, but not quite. Because remember, your live center goes down in there a little bit. You got to be real careful because it'll come off, it'll break. You get a catch. Okay, we'll put a skew on here. Gonna have to move up the tool rest a little. Yeah, we're gonna use the toe of the skew. There we go. Okay, and then think of a star three-dimensionally. This is going to go in just about like that. Very delicate turning here. There we go. We got a nice lip on that. And then we're going to make the bottom of our star here going this way. Maybe. Actually, that should go up almost straight in. Okay, we're going to stop there, sand that a little bit, put some islands on it. That's not exactly the, I don't know, we'll see how that turns out. I don't know, that maybe is not exactly going to look like a star. You know, and it doesn't have to be exactly a star either. Could leave it round like that, just make kind of a, like a decorative finial on the top. That little spot right in the corner, there we go. I might make this a little more delicate here, this little stem. So we'll pull this in here a little closer, make this a little bit smaller. Go back to my parting tool, which I need to bring the height down. Looks good. Okay. I like it. Okay. If I get too much thinner, though, it's going to break. Put some Mylans on. Did we bring the Mylans up?
Right there. Right here.
See, a lot of you guys don't shake this enough. Okay. You get a lot of the sedimentation there in the bottom that we need to make sure we get stirred up. Also see you guys using way too many rags using Mylans. Doesn't take very much here.
Found the ones that weren't even used in the garbage.
I know. Or they use one little corner of it and then throw it away.
Okay. Pull my tool rest back. Put this on by hand first. You know, that's another thing. I've seen people put this on while it's spinning. You actually want to put it on just by hand so that it soaks in good to the wood. And then we're going to have to, in those little grooves, we're going to have to get those down in there like such.
You want me to turn it?
That's all right. A little bit more. A little bit more here on the outside. Pretty hard to get it down in there, so you have to just, that's why you want a real small rag so you can get it to fit in that slot. That end grain's going to soak up the Mylans pretty good here on the very bottom of the Christmas tree, so we want to make sure we get that extra good. Okay. I think we're pretty good there. We got the star. Everything looks like it's pretty well coated. Now we'll go ahead and take our dry rag, polish that off. Of course, I'll put the lid on this right away, so in case it does get knocked over, it's not going to make a mess. And again, be conservative. That's all we need right there. Now be careful that this rag doesn't get, it could get caught up in those grooves. So be real careful here. The thing doesn't wind up on you. Turn our speed up a little bit to get a little bit of friction. Now remember, you got a pretty small stem there, so you don't want to press too hard because it'll go flying out and hit Mr. Sommerfeld.
No pain, no gain.
Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and part this thing down. And somebody grab me a coping saw out of the cabinet. Okay, now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to be really careful, and I'm going to get that pretty thin.
Thank you.
We're pretty thin. We're about 1/8 of an inch down there. And I'm going to get this a little bit thinner too. That's about as thin as I dare. Might. Almost done here, guys. Okay, so we want to go ahead and cut this off. You can actually spin this and just hold on to it. Okay, it's going to come off here. Notice my technique. Make sure they can see this. My technique is I'm putting my hand around this. I got this turned all the way down because when it comes off, I'm going to catch it. Staying on there a lot better than I thought it would. Come on.
There we go.
Okay. Be careful you don't get that sideways in there. Alright. So that's a nice way to cut it off, and you don't have too much to have to sand off. We'll still have to take a little 120 and kind of sand that base just a little bit. Get rid of that little stem, that little...
The nubbin.
The little nubbin, yeah, there you go. Okay, and you kind of sand that by hand. Now this top part, we're going to go over to the belt sander. And we're going to make that star.